Hey guys, it's Raychich. The Path of Exile 2 Early Access launches in just 4 days, so it's time to finalize your choice of class, ascendancy, and strategy for the game. During the Early Access phase, we will have access to 6 classes and 12 ascendancies. Among them, the Mercenary class stands out as truly exceptional, and that's why for this video I've invited a very special guest, FearlessDumb0. Dumbo, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great to, in the ramp up to PoE2, to do all this theory crafting and have this sort of gigantic blank canvas to tinker, and yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Actually, guys, if you don't know who the FearlessDumb0 is, this guy has created a ton of amazing content for the explosive trap build in PoE1. His builds are not only effective but also incredibly approachable for players of all levels, and this video will be something like an interview. It will not be too long, so you'll not get bored, I hope. And let's kick things off with the most important and exciting question. So let's begin with, who are you planning to start with in Path of Exile 2 Early Access? Which class and ascendancy will you choose, and actually why?
Yeah, I plan on starting as a mercenary for a few reasons. So the first and primary one is it looks the most flexible. Jonathan is on record as saying that it should be very approachable to new players, and it also has a really nice mixture of offense and some defense, as well as some mapping capability, and the thing that I care about the most, which is bossing.
Actually, so bossing is what you actually want to target farming in Path of Exile 2, right?
That's right. Yeah, my favorite content is mechanically complex bossing. That's by far my favorite type of content to interact with.
About the ascendancy, how would you compare the Legionnaire and Witch Hunter ascendancies? What strengths and weaknesses do you see in each, and what kind of ascendancy you really wants to choose, and what you can tell our viewers to start with?
So Witch Hunter looks great because it has an excellent mixture of mapping ascendancy nodes and bossing ascendancy nodes. I think pre-cull and cull are going to be incredible because they're not conditional, so it functions irrespective of post-damage mitigation, so you don't have to worry about additional resistances or anything like that. It's just a flat percentage removed on either end of the health bar of the enemy. You also have concentration, which I think is going to be really fantastic. So bossing encounters in PoE2 are going to be completely unlike anything in PoE1. There's going to be huge amounts of skills that you're going to have to know and care about, and getting up to 50% CDR on the boss, so that reduces the time that they're able to do their really big hits, is going to be big, especially for a new game, right? Like, nobody's played any of these boss fights. Nobody's achieved the highest level of pinnacle content, and I think getting 50% CDR right off the top, as soon as you break concentration, is going to be really impactful. Witch Hunter also has a bunch of really nice things like the explode node. So explode, if you read it really carefully, is unlike anything we have in PoE1. So Arias N, for example, gives you, I think, 10% of damage as a random element, but in Witch Hunter you get 100% of the mob's life as physical, and then you can further modify that. But the fact that it deals 100% of the mob's life is insane. It's actually insane. Yeah. So if you want to lean into mapping, you can really do that. And I also, cull being reworked, right, is going to make mapping feel really good, because getting a free 30, or there's also culling strike threshold, which is a new way to scale in PoE2 that can make that even higher. It's going to make mapping feel really good, particularly if nobody's going to know what to do, and so the gearing is going to be scuffed at some point during your build progression. Either way,
you really like this ascendancy and it's going to be like your starter. But what about the Legionnaire?
Yeah, Legionnaire also looks really interesting. In my opinion, it has the biggest upside of any of the ascendancies that we've seen so far. The problem that I have with Gemling Legionnaire is that no one knows what the quality.
We don't know about it yet.
Yeah, no, nobody knows what is that upside, right? It's hard to commit without having some idea what the quality on the gems is actually going to give you. But I will say, Jonathan in an interview said that quality on gems gives up to 20% more power, which is insane, right? In Path of Exile 1, a typical quality adjustment from 0 to 20% is only going to give you a couple percentage points of damage, but 20% more power is insane.
Let's imagine you've completed the campaign with your Witch Hunter and reached the end game. So what type of content, okay, you said about bossing, but maybe something else you think this ascendancy would excel in?
It's a good question, and it's hard to say only knowing what we have from the reveal, but I will say that again, I think the explode node on Witch Hunter is just comically strong, and you get double the chance on, I think, undead and demons, which, I mean, Breach I think is all demons. You know, Delirium might be a good fit depending on, you know, how some of these mobs are tagged.
So yeah, Breach, Expedition, Ritual is gonna be like easy kind of contents for Witch Hunter for sure, because like of this explosion. And I guess, what about defense sides? I mean, what about defense?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question, and actually something I think a lot of people have overlooked. I think defense, especially since we're in, once you get to maps, it's a one portal world where you don't get access to, you know, 6 attempts at something. And so defense can be really important, especially early on when there aren't meta build guides. So for defense, I think concentration in bossing encounters is going to feel really good. Outside of that, armor and ES probably looks the best. I mean, the amount of ES you can invest in on the tree is kind of surreal. I think it's like 3 times as much as the PoE 1 tree has. There are some other changes to ES that might make it less good, but I feel like armor ES is probably where I'm going to lean, especially since Mercenary starts in the Sturdex side of the tree.
Yeah, actually, it's all. I mean, now all the videos before the early access is just a theory crafting, but now we know that Witch Hunter with this no mercy ascendancies and concentration mechanics is gonna be like, in theory, it looks like insane bosser. But for something more speculative, what would your potential build for the Witch Hunter look like? What skill gems you think would work best at the start of early access, and actually why? Feel free to get creative with your ideas here.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I've heard everything on the spectrum from, you know, experienced people saying that they don't think Witch Hunter will be a good bosser. I'm not sure why they, like, I sort of disagree with some of that sentiment. I think that we just don't know a lot yet, but some of the nodes, to me, the Ascendancy looks really strong for bossing. I will say, as far as like how would I build out the Witch Hunter, I think that Ignite is probably going to be the thing that I lean into first. And that's because there's a really excellent set of synergies between cold and fire specifically. So supports like Frostfire and Eternal Flame, they provide huge multipliers for ignites, right? And ignites are completely different than they were in PoE 1, right? Like it actually scales off of the hit. So you can lean into crit and still get big ignites. So I think Ignite is probably where I'm going to start. Maybe Explosive Grenade being the payload delivery for Ignite, and then using a weapon swap for something that inflicts freeze. I also would like to point out that freeze and chill are probably some of the best defensive things that you can do, even though it doesn't show up in your EHP when you're looking in Path of Building, for example. But Ignite coupled with freeze is probably where I'm going to start my build exploration.
Yeah, we will see. Actually, this video is pretty long right now, so I don't want to make everybody bored here, but I hope, guys, this video entertained you and got you thinking about the Mercenary Witch Hunter as a potential starter for Path of Exile 2 Early Access, or maybe not if you don't like it. But a huge thank you to Dumbo for joining us. It was a pleasure talking with you. And dear viewers, make sure to check out his channel, and the link will be, of course, in the description, and subscribe to this genius who builds and explosions, because I guess it's gonna be a lot of videos about Witch Hunter pretty soon. So yeah, and that's all from me. Dumbo, maybe you have any final words for the audience?
You know, I'm just really looking forward to exploring this with all of you. So, you know, feel free to hop over and follow along if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, this has been Raychich and FearlessDumb0, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Good luck at the start of Early Access Path of Exile 2. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.